Hi folks, so today I'm going to be making an open source AI video editor software. Basically anything that can be edited with AI should be able to edit it using AI, and I'm just diving right into it. I have zero experience building AI or video editor, so this is going to be like a find and let's do it kind of thing. I am a software engineer, so I do have quite a amount of background in writing and reading apps, but at the same time, video editor is no easy task. There's so much going on. So I'm going to be basically building in public because this is open source. It is going to be published to an open source repository every single time I do a stream. And my goal is to only do streams for this and just, I guess, dive right into things. So let's see. So a couple things that I guess we are going to assume and sort of like go through is what an AI video editor looks like. We don't want to do things that people have traditionally been doing, but at the same time, we don't also want to do things that we cannot do. So it's more like let's develop a workable thing, and we can always add things to it later. The first thing that I'm going to develop is editor capability for the upcoming video. So it's not like how traditionally things have been edited. Like we're not doing a manual effects or manual things unless they absolutely need to be added to. What we're going to do is an easy way of you give it a video and utilize all the cool things available, like B-roll generation, which is like, when you're watching a video and suddenly there's a video of something else that's like very interesting and relevant to the video. We want to be able to do that. And there are APIs available to generate or download existing B-roll videos. So we're going to be doing that, pictures, etc. So the editor should be able to find the best or most fitting B-roll and pictures and do that. Secondly, as you've seen on YouTube and all of the social media platforms that do stream videos, is the cuts. Even with a single camera, they are able to like zoom in, zoom out all of a sudden and start doing and sort of like grab audience attention. Like right now, this is boring for what you're seeing. But when you see those videos of like cutting into every like 2 seconds, like sort of zoom in, zoom out, a little bit of like shifting of cameras, those are good. Now I do have, I wouldn't say super extensive, but I have good amount of video editing and VFX experience. So I should be able to like do a couple things that a typical software engineer will not be able to do. So hopefully that helps into this project. And I guess on top of that, provided a couple things that I want to do is gather transcripts from the video and automatically edit all the pauses, all the unnecessary things from the video. Like if I'm repeating something as I'm recording, then I should be able to create a transcript and delete things that are repeated and only keep the good ones. So a couple of those things. So we got a cut, we have audio based, I guess, cuts. And the third one is use AI APIs to either generate or find the most relevant B-roll footage, either being video or picture. And the next one, I guess, a little bit of sound effects. I don't know if you have used ElevenLabs APIs, but there are a couple other providers, including on-prem hosted providers, that do provide sound generation. And by sound, I mean sound effects, not just sound, but also sound effects. For example, if somebody's opening a door in the video, then we should be able to add a door opening sound effect. If somebody is, like running a machine, like a vacuum cleaner, then we should be able to add those sound effects. That's like the nice to haves, like, okay, this is brilliant. But obviously, we got to go through the important features and all that. So hopefully this is a community-based effort. Once I create a GitHub repository, you should be able to create a discussion or an issue, and we're going to be able to prioritize things like this is really useful to the project, so we'll just increase the priority, and if it is not, then we'll deprioritize it, sort of like thing. Another thing that I see is so we got the audio figured out, we got the transcript figured out, we got the B-roll and A-roll, etc. We got the cuts figured out, we got the special effects figured out, and I guess using the audio transcript to create YouTube shorts, Instagram reels. That's like the most important pipeline right now. Like people are sort of either using shorts to generate revenue or build really high quality videos, and also the unfortunate slop that we're seeing everywhere. But at the same time, shorts also act as a way of giving a preview to somebody like, hey, this is a 20-second preview to this 2-hour video if you want to watch. And a lot of people find the benefit, like, okay, I've got a taste of what the 2-hour video is going to look like. These are the cool things. So I'm going to click on the whatever video and I'm actually going to watch the full video. So that's sort of what I'm going to do, is develop as many features as we can and start with that. Now, the biggest problem with the existing available solutions of AI video editors, obviously they're first browser based, which is a convenience, but at the same time, if you're a video editor and you have a huge ton of compute available, like you've got the best GPU, you've got the best amount of RAM available, that is going to waste. So we want to be able to create a software that does run on your computer and you are able to utilize your existing compute. We don't want that to go to waste. For example, using Whisper from OpenAI. Whisper is a multi-linguistic, whatever. It can identify multiple languages and transcribe those things on-prem on your machine. And a lot of people have been using Whisper on like basic machines, like 8 gigabytes of RAM and regular CPU. And it's still performing fairly quite well, not the best, but it's still performing. So we should be able to utilize at least the audio transcription part from your own device, especially if you have the super powerful ones, and send whatever else to like somewhere, I don't know. So that's the goal too, like not to let your existing compute go to waste. We're going to be using your on-prem as much as we can, and then see what to do with the heavy load of heavy stuff. But basic video editing, I feel like anybody should be able to do that. And the other thing is, since this is open source, anybody should be able to bring their API key from, for example, ChatGPT or OpenAI API key or Anthropic and Google and all this stuff, and plug that in and use that to decide what to go to, what should be like cut, when to make a different camera angle shift and so forth. So these are the things that I find to be quite useful for people, at least for myself as a video editor. So hopefully we get to do that. Now, the most experienced framework for me is React, and it's also one of the framework that everybody else uses. So we're probably going to be stuck with React unless the community effort goes into another direction. So we're going to start with React. Now, I do want this to be a desktop application, and desktop application probably means we're going to have to utilize like my favorite language, C++, but I have a little bit of experience with Tauri, and Tauri, if you don't know, is sort of like an Electron application. If you've used Electron, it's sort of like building a cross-platform desktop software. I believe Discord at some point was 100% written in Electron. If you're familiar with VS Code, Visual Studio Code, it is also, at least at some point, was written in Electron, and I believe a large part of it is still Electron. Electron is sort of the Chromium adjacent engine that brings in all the cool desktop capabilities to JavaScript. So you can use React or React Native to develop desktop application. Now, there's other stuff like React Native cross-platform developer application, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to be utilizing Tauri as a development framework. If the shift required into Electron, then that's a different story, because the drivers for things like NVIDIA and Apple Silicon are way more mature when you use the native API for your platform. I work on Mac, but I also know most video editors and people in the world tend to rely on Windows machines, so developing cross-platform is nice. But I believe Tauri is a good start. I do foresee issues with drivers and compatibility with GPUs in the future, but hopefully we won't encounter them. I'm just hoping. I haven't done a lot of research because this is sort of like a open source built in public sort of thing. So if I find major issues, then we'll shift. But that's one of the biggest issues that I see right now is Tauri brings driver compatibility issue, maybe possibility. So it is going to be a desktop application, but since we're building in Tauri, then we should be able to share a lot of code base with a browser-based application and host it somewhere. So Tauri for desktop, so you can just drag and drop files, and you don't need a browser and third-party providers, cloud, all that stuff. And I do believe editors, video editors, were meant to be desktop application, not a browser application, just because that's how we sort of are traditionally conditioned to use video editors. So there's that. And so I'm going to get started with Tauri codebase. Now we are going to vibe code this for the most part. So I will do research, but I will also rely on utilizing Codex to power this software. So Codex plus whatever I know. So I'm going to get started with at least some basic project, and I do have a browser, so I'll show what the browser looks like as I do things, as I search Google. So I'm going to say, Tauri initiate application, and I'm going to create a Tauri application in my video. So I've got a basic video editor project or directory open up, and I'm gonna say, I don't know, like desktop as a identifier. I don't have a, so we're gonna change this later, but I'm gonna say let's call it com., something like that. And I do want to stick to TypeScript for now, and I do want to use, I'm just going to go with NPM for now. We can switch later. React for framework and TypeScript. Now, I'm not a know-it-all in terms of programming, so we're going to be sort of learning things as we go. I just happen to know like more generalistic things, like, okay, I know a lot of things, but I also don't know the depth of one very, very niche things. So there's that, and I just installed my Tauri application. I accidentally forgot to switch the application. So there's that, and I'm just gonna take a quick look. I've never formally worked with Tauri, so this is gonna be brand new as well. And okay, wonderful. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Google Stitch. She'll bring it in the browser while being a little bit more privacy focused. So I'm going to log into my account. All right, so I just opened Stitch, and Stitch, if you don't know, it's sort of like a web designing application from Google. So I used it last year, and it was unfortunately not good, but I do hear they made it really, really nice now. So I'm gonna give it a go and sort of see how things are. So here I'm gonna say, and basically giving it a project thing, and this is a web application. It's sort of like desktop app, but I don't want this to create a mobile app for it. So I'm gonna say go to web and an AI application, AI video editor. that edits both, I guess, 16 by 9 and 9 by 16 videos. From online or generates line using already Fio 3.1 or whichever are available, like Cling, Trevor. And injects them on relevant areas, and then I also want to make sure that can write it can write transcription in video as captions. I'm just trying to see how somebody would interact with the software. Like, you don't need to be a very highly skilled video editor to be able to use this, but still get the output of a professionally edited video, since we can now use AI to facilitate a lot of things. So I'm trying to see from a user's background, like somebody who has never edited a video or may have some exposure to a little bit of editing, how they would interact. Like, we want to make it sort of like beginner friendly. We don't want to develop a software that's hard to use, because I feel like that was the early stage of software development where you can like train people. But over the past 20 years, we've learned that people like to do things the way they like to do things, and they want to discover and they want to find things where they best want them to be. So in this case, we don't want to add like timelines or like all those tabs and disorganized information that you need training on. We want to make sure our user experience is as good as it could be, so people are sort of finding things or discovering things where they sort of expect them to be. And that's like the best UX thing that you can do ever, is people, or most people, are automatically finding things like, okay, I kind of think it should be there, so you do that. So you're sort of piggybacking on the industry trends and things that people are familiar with. I can't think of a particular example, but I do know a lot of people tend to, or a lot of designers tend to focus on what does your target audience do. Like, let's say your target audience is only 20,000 people in US. What do they do? Are they of a particular profession? If they are, then what are they most familiar with? And that's sort of how you design your application. So when those 10, 20,000 people start utilizing your app, they sort of find like, oh, okay, this kind of relates to what I do. Okay, this button is there because I sort of expect it to be there, and it is there. So making your app as easy to use is good, but making your app in a way that people just sort of assume something is going to be there and it is there is wonderful. Like, that's what differentiates between I like using this app versus I loved using this app. So like, in that regard, so you want to make sure like our functionality is as good as we can make it to be. So here I have an editor that can edit desktop videos, but it can also edit mobile videos, and takes raw footage. And I would say input of raw footage, input of multiple raw footage, transcribe the audios, understands the context of frames in the video, able to download B-roll, online or generate one using already available APIs, which unfortunately is expensive. Like right now, Veo is like couple dollars per 8 seconds or per 20 seconds. I remember like when Veo 3 came out and it was like $2 to $4 per 8-second video, which is crazy, ridiculous, but it was good. It was useful, and a lot of people are finding it indistinguishable from how things were. Unfortunately, that's just how things are. But anyway, so we can write captions, identify speakers, hopefully. That's just another thing that I want to add. It's a wonderful thing to add, but it's going to be very difficult to add. Captions, identify speakers, show them as somebody speaking, showing the video as someone is. And this has been like achieved already. Like there's a lot of good things going on with a lot of editors. I think there's something FM. There's a very popular YouTube channel of somebody showing how to start a podcast and stuff, and they build their own software, so that's sort of how they're capitalizing on the opportunity of teaching, but also at the same time like doing things. So just looking at something, so I feel like that one's pretty good. And but nonetheless, I was just checking if the video is working. There used to be a chat option online where I can check like if, like without watching the video, if there's a chat feature enabled. But I don't know why it says chat is not enabled. I will take a look at that later. And I feel like chat would be a nice option. But nonetheless, so I'm gonna type my prompt here. I'm just trying to think of all the things that I can incorporate into this UI design so I can eventually see what things are. But anyway, identify speakers, different cuts, to engagement, viewer engagement, different cuts to improve viewer engagement. And then what's the other one? Easy for beginners with limited to no video editing to start using the edit long form and short form videos. And at the side, I'm just sort of like debugging why chat is disabled for this video streaming. If I go to customize, I don't know why chat is disabled for this video. It's kind of weird. Okay, there we go. Now chat is enabled. I don't know why this video was set to be limited. So hopefully that should have been resolved. And chat should be working now. All right, cool. So now I am going to, now that I can monitor chat, I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the UI design. So both long form videos and short form videos, we're able to edit, remove pauses, have a setting for that, and undo and redo, obviously, if the user makes a change. Create multiple short form videos from a long form video sections. All right, so I'm just gonna see how the UI looks like. So I'm gonna say create a desktop app or desktop browser app UI. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select 3.1 Pro because that's what it is. I also want to test the ideate. I'm just gonna ideate and see what it does. Because right now, because typically in software engineering, you do have at least some start, like you try to gather as much information as you can, and then you sort of go test a couple things and see if it works. And if it does work, that's when you start iterating, like, okay, or like, you know, doubling down or backtracking on things that don't make sense to the user. Because in software engineering and business itself, users is who decide how things are. Like it's not the product manager, it's not the tech lead, it's not the leadership, it's a users, majority of the users. If users want a particular feature or want things done in a certain way, then in typical software engineering, we do that. We literally like listen to most of the users. And if they say, we don't want this button here, or we do want this button here, and that's what most users want, that's what we do. So we want to make sure like things are where people expect it to be. All right, so this is what Gemini Stitch or Google Stitch came up with. Magic Wizard, ultra beginner friendly, which is what we want to do, so that's good. And focus heavily on AI automation aspects, which is also what we want to do. And less traditional timeline, which is literally what we discussed in this video. Like we don't want this to be a traditional video editor. And I love traditional video editor. I love using something like Premiere Pro or After Effects or HitFilm, which is a combination of After Effects and Premiere Pro. So it's like wonderful, and their pricing tier is pretty beginner friendly. But they don't, at least they, maybe now they do. But I remember a couple years ago when I started video editing again, HitFilm didn't natively support Apple Silicon, so it was like slower to build as compared to, it was using the bridge that Apple built. I forgot the name of it. It's been a couple years. The whatever. Rosetta. It was using Rosetta to do that, and it wasn't efficient, so I switched back to Adobe. But anyway, more of a step-by-step recipe builder. You upload your raw footage, which is true. Extract 5 shorts, remove silence, add B-roll. All this stuff sounds pretty good. Vibe. Bright, airy, minimalistic, welcoming. That sounds good. Video editors. At first, I remember I was like 12, 13, and I looked at Adobe Premiere Pro. And fortunately, things haven't changed much since then, which is in a good way, because you can continue doing things without a major overhaul that most users are, like all of a sudden like, oh, what is this? So that's good. Welcoming would be nice, because it can get overwhelming, like what is this? But I feel like Adobe has done a really good design and job at making sure that even beginners can do, and just following a little bit of tutorials sets you up for majority of the tasks in Adobe. So good job to them overall. AI Copilot Canvas keeps a familiar timeline at the bottom, which is good, because if you do have timeline, then we are sort of like making sure our users have timeline in their existing software, and we have it now, so it's easy. Showing 16, 19, 16 side by side, I don't think we want that. Like, generally when somebody's editing, they're either editing the long form video or short form. They're never like doing both exact same footage at the same time, so I don't think we want that. But I'm just gonna let it go and see what it generates. And generated b-roll is good. Vibe, sleek, that's good. Content engine, a highly modular dashboard style approach. So I'm just gonna say this sounds good to me. I don't see anything that I want to change itself. So I'm gonna say I can't change. So I guess it's a light mode. I don't know what's light mode. Attach a screenshot, get your visual inspiration. I don't think we need to. Okay, it is generating something. Let's see what it's doing. A prosumer desktop application. Okay, I'm not able to scroll this in any way unless there's one thing I find weird is it's generating 3 things here and there's no way to scroll it. Maybe this. There we go. Alright, just had to change the cursor. Now I do see 3 files: AI Copilot Canvas, Magic Wizard, Content Engine. So I'm sort of guessing it created 3 different. How do I move this? Nope, can't move it. Move. Okay, there's no move option. Content engine. I'm just gonna take a look at what the content engine looks like. High octane, text driven, AI video editor, which is what we want. Devices desktop. Inspired by these applications. That sounds good. They're on a project hub, new engine. I have no idea what new engine is. And then they drag files. Sounds good. User clicks on run smart cut. All silences more than 1.5 seconds. That sounds good. In cases where it's a typical talking head or podcast video, but what if somebody's editing a short film and silences are an integral part of the footage? That's where we need to revise or go back and make these changes. Extracting a short, repurpose long form, highlights, 45-second text block. I'm okay with that start. And one thing we do want to make sure it's automatically suggesting shorts from parts of the video. Like you have a 2-hour podcast and it's saying these are important clips beneficial to the listener. So it's not just about create, it's more about find and suggest. And I'm okay with the fonts and everything. I think interaction is going to be the main part. So that sounds good start. Eventually we're going to be refining this a lot and seeing how people react, and at the same time how I want to use it for myself. Anyway, Magic Wizard, Project Hub, long to short, conversation, create magic, session. Yeah, looks like it's got basically what we have said to the editor, or to Stitch, and it's sort of like went a little bit deeper onto things. So I'm just gonna say looks good, proceed. I'm just hoping this ID8 button goes away because it's stuck at ideation for some reason. Still not able to move these at all. So while it generates, I'm just gonna go look at the chat. Now I have used Stitch, as I said, last year, and the results were just almost not useful. Now there's a lot of prompting thing, like I'm not one of those people that are like, hey, AI is like obscure or incompetent, or I've personally found really impressive results from utilizing things like Cloud Code and Codex, and just asking ChatGPT for things. Like it's able to identify and suggest really good things that typically I would never be able to. So I feel like when I or people say AI output or AI result is bad, I do think bad prompting or not enough prompting, or like the prompting skills itself play a huge role in the quality of output. So if everybody's like, hey, AI is not generating good anyway at all, like in any way, that generally means the prompt is bad. And one thing I identify is when the whole prompt engineering thing started, I just used to think, okay, it's just prompt engineering. It's basic English language. It's not a skill per se, or that's what I thought. But to be honest, after looking at things, I feel like prompting is a skill for real. And prompt engineering is not just a marketing gimmick. It is like a real thing. And people definitely struggle with good prompts, and when they get a bad output, it does look like, okay, AI is not doing a good thing, but it's generally prompt. And a lot of people think they need to create prompt once, but in reality, you are continually improving your prompt. You're not, okay, this is a wonderful output, but you're always like adding things, subtracting things to your prompt, and making it more and more focused towards the quality of your response. So anyway, this is Stitch. It created a mock UI of how this application might look like, and I still don't know why this is stuck in ID8 button. I was hoping we can switch models into 3.1, because I do know 3.1 is a lot better than whatever model they set up by default, unless 3.1 Pro is the default model. So this looks good. Like we're just gonna create a new project and drop files, which looks much nicer than video editors today. It's like too much. So this will be nice. And then the timeline looks okay. It does remind me of some browser-based video editor that I've seen, at least in the screenshots, like, oh, that looks cool. So here we're gonna have multiple videos. Sounds good. We can drag and drop if we need to. Ideally, AI should be doing everything, like literally everything. But at the same time, we also know it's unrealistic to at least expect it to do things. So hopefully it should be able to do some things, and eventually to a point where the human interaction is less and less. I don't know if it's ever going to be like never, but it's more going to be, okay, all the frustrating 45-minute session is done and you can do the rest of the 15-minute tasks. And that's still a win. Like if you're subtracting 45 minutes from work, I think that's a good win. So anyway, zoom in is pretty good. Play, go back, refined, go next. Back is pretty good. I don't know what this is, so we'll see. I don't know what this loop thing means or repeat thing means, and that sounds good. And transcription is quite nice. It's able to identify pauses, so we should be able to sort of instruct. A lot of video editors now have this feature where they show you the transcript and you can select the transcript to delete. And unfortunately, a lot of them have done a terrible job at implementing it. So you have a really good video and you transcribe and then you delete the text that you don't need, and it also deletes a video portion of that text, so it just makes that clip go away. But I always leave a frame or two, and that creates a huge rift in the flow of the video. Like all of a sudden the video is super smooth and there's a random frame, and it looks weird to the user. And I've seen a lot of YouTubers, their videos sort of like that, like all of a sudden there's a random 2 millisecond, 5, 10, 20, I don't know, whatever human eye can see, a very quick frame, and that frame just sort of like puts them into a totally different position and back into the normal. It's weird. So hopefully we'll be able to address that in this. But I do think speaker identification looks pretty good, and pause identification looks good, and we should be able to delete content that we don't need. I'm primarily concerned about somebody recording something and saying, okay, that was a bad capture, let's do that again. And when you're solo doing it, like you're doing it yourself, that's when you struggle the most. You're the camera person, but you're also the subject of the video, you're the talking head, and you're also the lighting guy and everything. You've got too much going on. All of a sudden you did the final setup, and when you're recording, you'll realize, okay, I went out of the script, it sounds good, but I have too many pauses, I said too many things, too fast, too slow. So you go back and it just re-recording and blah blah blah, a couple cuts and takes and all this stuff. It's never good. So hopefully we should be able to identify, okay, the latter parts of the repeats are better, hopefully. So something like that. And sidebar, generated b-roll, that sounds good. Auto captions, nice. They added a Harmozy. Okay, it's not Harmozy, I thought that's what it is. Captions look good. Apply to timeline looks good. Ideally, b-roll generation should be like downloaded automatically or suggest where it should be, instead of like human needing to explicitly say every single time, but once in a while, that's fine. So sidebar looks good. It only contains b-roll, doesn't contain anything else. We will be adding sound effects to it. And final render preview. I don't think this is like the best of the best need per se. Like you ideally don't want the exact same footage to be desktop and exact same footage. From what I've seen people using it as short form or mobile or vertical video is either to only generate vertical videos, or vertical video is a summary or like a sneak peek into the real video. So I don't think this will be a huge beneficial feature, especially like it's not even possibly in per se, like, because vertical video is zoomed in to the face, and when you just select, I don't know. Nonetheless, this is an export. This would be good if you could post directly to social media. Format sounds good. Resolution, frame rates. This sounds good. Burn-in captions is definitely a must. batch export simultaneously render this project and for YouTube using I personally don't think this is useful, but it looks good. Export now, add to queue looks wonderful. Now let's see what this is about. It looks like it generated 3 different things for these 3 different things. Okay. So podcast, Magic Wizard, turn raw footage into. I was hoping the whole thing is one software, not 2 different things. So that's where Gemini sort of drifted from our original ask. This one sort of looks like give us the footage, give us what you need, and this is the output. Ideally, that's what I want. Like that's what I want the whole software to be. Still generating. And transcript, yeah, I want the whole thing, like both of the things that we've visited so far, to be a single software. But first impression, I think this is good. Like from a UI perspective, this is good so far. Whatever it's done, I can see it kind of like took ideas from a lot of like inspirations from different applications, but I would say this is a good job so far. And ooh, that's bold. That's bold. That is bold. Indeed, that is bold. So it sort of looks like it kind of generated 3 different versions of a little bit niche down 3 different things. I want the whole thing to be a single app, not 3 different applications. So that's interesting. Now, I don't know if there's still a way of being able to select. Please create only one design of one app. Is okay, while it's doing it, I'm just gonna check if the video streaming. I'm streaming after like 7-8 years, so I'm just gonna check if it's actually working and the audio is coming and all. Alright, so the stream is actually working and things have not changed crazy since the last 7 to 8 years. I'm still not able to see what model it is utilizing. Like, I don't know, I'm guessing it's using a cheaper model to generated by sidebar on the right for prompting Veo King. So the goal of this software is to utilize things like APIs like OpenAI and Claude, basically like use ChatGPT and let it generate the videos correctly as it thinks they're the best, as it thinks best. Okay, so I would say I'm gonna stop streaming at this point. I was hoping I can get more things done with Gemini or this. So I'm just gonna let it generate and start streaming once it does, because I do need to take a break. So, all right, if you're watching this video, which I know I'm the only one watching right now, but hopefully if you're following the journey, I will start streaming again once I get some food, and I will see you all in the next stream, whenever that is.